My cousin would drive me all throughout the Bay Area looking for Nintendo Wiis. We'd get it for $250, flip it for $750, $800 right before the holidays.
Insane. We raised like $600 million within like the first 18 months that I was there, and went to Arizona to help build out their set. So, I mean, Noon Brew is a tea for the afternoon slump. So both Alan and I would always get tired during the pandemic, and we wanted something that was different than, you know, coffee or matcha or any of these different types of hot drinks that we would.
Welcome to episode 52 of NewmoneyTalks.
That was perfect.
You're natural. You're natural.
natural.
So, why don't you guys just quickly introduce yourselves, give a 2-3 minute summary of how you guys went from wherever you were in your backgrounds to where you're at now. We'll get into
we'll
the
go right
company
into
and
this. Tell
everything.
people who you are. If people in e-commerce, they probably know you. They probably know the brand and stuff like that. But I'll let you guys take the floor and start there, and then we'll move it around where we got to go. And also, thank you for this. This is probably like the third time we've scheduled this one, so I appreciate you guys making this one
sorry
happen.
for flanking the first time.
The summer was crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess I've always been really interested in e-commerce growing up. Hustling online, I was a power seller on eBay when I was a young kid. I used to sell a lot of sneakers, game stations. I remember my cousin would drive me all throughout the Bay Area looking for Nintendo Wiis. We'd get it for $250, flip it for $750, $800 right before the holidays. But I grew up in a family business, so that's where I got the entrepreneurial bug from. Worked in tech, I guess, right out of college for a Chinese tech company. It was really cool. Got to travel the entire world, which was really eye-opening. And I think like having that experience like led me to where I am today. 2019, right before the pandemic, I was still living in Beijing. Decided to quit that job because I wasn't learning, I wasn't growing. And then started digitalizing my family's business. I took it online. We're in traditional Chinese medicine, very archaic pen and paper type of business. And so, you know, we built a pretty decent business online. And that's when I met my co-founder, Andrew. And the rest is history. Here we are with Noon Brew.
Andrew, how are you gonna top this one?
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I could top that. But yeah, grew up in St. Louis. Went to college there, and then moved out to San Francisco afterwards. Worked at a tech company called Zenefits, which was a crazy ride.
It doesn't exist anymore or something. Like something happened.
It got sold. Yeah, it got sold to TriNet. But you know, it was insane. We raised like $600 million within like the first 18 months that I was there, and went to Arizona to help build out their second office, and we went from like 10 employees to 1,000 employees within a year. So there's a lot of hiring and sales work that we were doing. Moved back to the Bay after that, and then like there's all this different controversy with the company, and we got like a nice little payout for the controversy. So after that, I just quit and I traveled the world. Quit, traveled the world, moved to New York, started doing consulting for a lot of different Bay Area VC-backed companies to put like the Zenefits playbook in with them. Had some success with that, started some different types of companies that didn't really go anywhere, but it was a really good learning process. And then Alan and I met during the pandemic through a friend of ours that actually worked with me at Zenefits.
Shout out Sarah.
Yeah, she was the one that came up with the name Noon Brew too. So we definitely owe a lot to her. But yeah, she connected us, and then we were both working on our own separate businesses at the time and wanted to do something, you know, bigger. And like, you know, we saw all these different companies like Athletic Greens and, you know, these different types of tea and functional benefit companies. We're like, we can do the same thing.
And so everyone knows you guys are the founders of Noon Brew, which is, I'm not going to butcher it, but it's like pretty much like a very functional, good for you drink. He's drinking it right now.
Yeah.
You already know?
Like this stuff gives you like wings or something, right?
What's the 60-second Shark Tank pitch?
That's what Noon Brew is.
Take it, Andrew.
60-second Shark Tank. So, I mean, Noon Brew is a tea for the afternoon slump. So both Alan and I would always get tired during the pandemic, and we wanted something that was different than, you know, coffee or matcha or any of these different types of hot drinks that we would have in the morning, but not necessarily in the afternoon. So it's a blend of 19 different superfoods, organic oolong tea and white tea, along with like functional mushrooms, ginger, ginseng, turmeric. And it's a really, really good drink for you. It doesn't have as much caffeine as coffee. It has a third of the cup or a third of the amount of caffeine as coffee. So you don't get jittery or wired. And then we have superfood honey as well as Moon Brew. And Moon Brew is our nighttime tea that helps you sleep better at night, which has been taking off, and it's been very hard to keep in stock because it's just been a crazy product.
Is that caffeine free?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, the tough part about like nighttime products, right? I mean, if you think about a nighttime sleep aid, what do you guys think about? Like, what's the name that comes to mind?
Melatonin.
Exactly.
NyQuil.
And what'd you say?
NyQuil.
I mean, so all
NyQuil
of these things
too,
you're not supposed to take on a daily basis. Like, it's
Yeah,
not meant for that.
Oh, even melatonin you shouldn't take on a daily basis.
It'll cause hormone imbalances. Plus, like, most melatonin out there that you'll see, at the very least, they'll start with 3 milligrams. That's just way too much. A lot of doctors recommend like MCGs, which is a lot less than an MG. So we chose not to use melatonin because we wanted to make a product that you can actually drink nightly. And also, it's like, you know, a lot of people have different levels of sleep disorders. It's like some people can't stay asleep throughout the whole night. Some people need help falling asleep. But at the end of the day, the goal is I want to wake up feeling refreshed, right? Like, how many times have you guys woken up and you're like, dude, I'm pissed at the world. Like, I don't feel great. I don't have energy. The goal is to have you sleeping and waking up feeling refreshed and feeling like you actually got good rest. And so we designed a really good tea. It has 14 different superfoods, Moon Brew. And then a blend of magnesium. So like a really special blend of magnesium. One's called magnesium L-threonate. And within that, you know, it's the highest efficiency magnesium type of magnesium. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier at a higher efficiency than most magnesium. The other one's magnesium glycinate, which is magnesium bonded with glycine. It's an essential amino protein.
So were you guys always like scientifically sound with this stuff?
You definitely have that background, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in like a medical family. My dad's a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. So like, I've always viewed everything like, I've always been really curious. I mean, I got into like bodybuilding in college. I'm like, how can I hack my way short of steroids into getting buff, right? And it worked. I mean, I was eating spoonfuls of deer antler, which has like IGF inside, insulin-like growth factors. And so like, I got really interested in all different types of stuff of like, what's functional. And like, when it comes to products, we view it as there needs to be 2 points of instant gratification. One, it has to work. Like, imagine taking a supplement and it doesn't work. Like, I'm not going to take it again. Number 2, it has to taste great. Like, it has to be palatable. Otherwise, it's like, even if it works okay but doesn't taste great, like, I'm not going to take it. And over time, you know, you just have customers that feel the benefits, that like the taste, and that's how you really boost that LTV.
So initially, what did this look like? Like, who came to who with it in a sense? I guess like your friend did, right? Your friend came to you guys, said you guys should meet and figure this out. That was the real thing.
No, we were both working on our own separate businesses. So we just like would have these meetups every other week where we would talk about, like, one week Alan would talk about his business, and the other week I would talk about my business, Sarah would talk about her business. And then over time, Alan and I just developed a friendship, and we would just like pass different business ideas around back and forth. And, you know, we were thinking about, like, I remember one of them was like Italic, like the, you know, non-branded.
That was like that's like a bigger company, right?
Yeah, but for like supplements. So it's like, hey, can you just do like generic supplements where like you don't have to like, you know, make optimize or optimum whey or whatever like that. And then we started just like riffing on more and more different ideas. And both Alan and I always got tired in the afternoons, and it kind of felt like this like secret that like no one else was really going after. And we're like, all these other companies are doing something, or actually we're like, this is like one of the best ecom products because it's, you know, high margin. It doesn't cost that much to ship. It's consumable. If you know, you get it right, people really like it and they want to continue drinking it, subscribe it. Yeah. So we're like, this could definitely work. And also it's you know, it was something that Alan had a background in. So we were able to like create the formula where, you know, that's like the most important part.
Now, like, what does that process look like from like, you guys say I want to do this to like actually having a physical product ready to like sell?
That was a fun process. I mean,
how long did that take, first of all?
It didn't take that long. I mean, we had
V1
done in like 2 months. And so like, we figured out how to get all the ingredients, and like within it all, like we were talking about like all the different functional companies that have been out there. And the number one thing that we really looked at was just the experience that they were receiving. So it's either really gritty or you have to drink it hot. And for me, it's like I'm full on. I mean, I'm born in America. I'm an ABC. I don't.
What is up, New Money Talks fam? Super excited to hop on here and shout out our amazing sponsor, Melio. They're an amazing hassle-free solution for businesses to streamline payments and get paid quickly. We love these guys. They're super simple and easy to use. You can pay your vendors your way with either bank transfer or credit card. No setup fees, and they even offer free ACH. Your security really matters to them. They're extremely secure. You can sync all your Melio accounts with all your accounting software that helps you save time and reduce errors. They're amazing because they go global. You can make international payments to over 80 plus countries. Jeez, these guys are amazing. You can use your mobile app to even do payments. Oh my gosh, I can literally do this on my phone. Gotta love these guys. And also they work with thousands of businesses that already use them. So honestly, you could try it for free. Melio, they're the go-to for all payments, international or domestic. We love them. And look today, go down below, click on the link to streamline all your business payments today. Go to go.melio.com/NMT. If you haven't already, check these guys out. They're the best in the industry. Now, back to the podcast. What the hell's ABC?
American-born Chinese, and so like within Chinese culture, right?
Shout
like,
out Sammy if you're watching. My voice I'm trying to do.
It's like within Chinese culture, right? It's like you don't drink anything cold. It's like hot's good for you, which is true. But at the same time, it's like, what do you want after lunch? Let's just say you had a big burger for lunch. What do you want to drink after? I don't think you want to drink a hot cup of tea. So it's like within the experience, we really design that experience to be like, okay, number one, it has to be really refreshing. Number two, I mean, you can see, I don't know, maybe you can see the bottom.
It looks like iced tea kind of.
I mean,
It is iced tea.
It is
iced tea.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we figured out how to get a certain type of extract where it would easily dissolve in water. It has high potency behind it. So we ordered it. We blended it up. I remember just sending samples back and forth between Andrew and I. The very first version we made, it was so strong that like I felt great off of it. Like I like when things are strong. I drink a really dark black coffee otherwise. And I'm like singing in the car stuck in traffic. And I'm like, ooh, I feel great. And that's when we knew. And, Andrew tried it. He was like, I think this is a little too strong. But that's when we knew we had like a hitter, right? Like that's when we knew it's like, this is a solid product. And then throughout the course of like the next few months, we iterated over and over and over again until we found like a good balance where like our customers will like. And that leads us into today. I mean, something that we're really cognizant of is something called a Net Promoter Score, NPS.
Yep.
Huge within that. We kind of like listened early on, and then as we grew, it's just like we didn't have enough hands. We started kind of like tapering off a little bit, but now we're really hyper vigilant on this. Just listening to what the customer has to say. What's the experience that you guys want? What's missing within that? And so we're really optimizing and just making a better product as we go.
How'd you guys know this was going to work though? So like for people who don't know, they've sold like hundreds of thousands of these like bags of product. People like, did you test something? Did you have a feeling this was going to work? Like, because like I think it's one thing to like, okay, you make a great product that tastes good, that works well and everything, but it's a whole different animal to get like Facebook ads working,
get customers,
and and acquiring new customers and just making that work, right? Like how'd you guys get over that hump? Because I feel like that's one of the hardest humps to get over in this space, where people do think of a great product, they design it, they manufacture it, they co-pack it, etc. They get it ready, they turn on Shopify and they're like, well, shit, no one wants
what
this.
do I do? Yeah.
Right? Or maybe people do want it, but like we can't even get in front of the right person.
Yeah.
Like how did you, like maybe you guys had a background on this? Like how did you kind of get the ball rolling? I'm curious.
I think that like we didn't necessarily know it was going to work. I think that we did everything really cheaply at first, and we still do. It's like we didn't have a big capital outlay to like do all of this. So like even if it didn't work, it wouldn't be like a humongous L. So we didn't really know it was going to work. I think that like once we launched it to our friends and family, like we saw the reaction. We started to see like, because Alan and I wanted something that like helped with energy in the afternoons, but then we started getting these reviews talking about how like life-changing it was. And like I think that like once we started seeing those reviews, then like we're like, oh, okay, like this did definitely have like a bigger impact than what we were thinking about. But I think that at all times it's like even getting to having whatever hundreds of thousands of packages, like you're still like trying to figure it out, because like then like Alan has a saying which I really like, is like new levels, new devils. It's like when you do get to
that's fire
doing like whatever tens of thousands of orders within a certain time period, it's like you have to like understand profitability, you have to understand your margin profile, you have to understand like how do you like keep your OpEx in check and like make sure that you're scaling responsibly with your CPA. So like it's one thing to like get your first whatever 1,000 customers, then it's another thing to like scale into like an actual company.
It's like more money, more problems.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I mean, like how it is that we operated really lean, right? We were packing bags of Noon Brew in my warehouse in San Francisco early on, and so what that meant was like we didn't have to spend a lot of money up front. Whereas if you go to a contract manufacturer, what's your MOQ? 100,000 plus units. Yeah. And so imagine taking that risk and being like, okay, let me buy 100K units. And then, you know, you're already cash strapped because you're bootstrapped. What money do you have left for ads? And so like we really moved really lean, and we still do. And that's what got us here, is just like being able to move lean. And then with like, you know, what Andrew was saying about like, you know, you get to new levels and things break. And that's exactly very true. It's like every time we've gone to a new level, it's like we ride the high for a month or two and then things just break. And you're like, okay, well, we have to refix what it is. And it's like how I see it is that you get to this level, whatever you're doing here is not going to work for here. And then you got to reset and move your way up to the next level, essentially.
Run us through an example of like a scenario where like, fuck, it broke.
Something broke.
Yeah, what's a good example?
Last September, we had an ad that did really, really, really well. And we had an incredible September. And it felt like it was just like scale for days. And then in October, right before Black Friday, our 3PL was like, we can't handle your volume anymore. Like it was a mom and pop shop, and they're like, we're dropping you. So it was
that's
like,
when we met, right?
yeah, that's when we met.
Shout out Ship Dudes.
we were shopping the entire block on 3PLs at that time.
Yeah. So that's when we met. Yeah. And, you know, that was really tough. I think that like, it's always like really tough when you have an offer that pops off, because then you have to like, you know, you have to understand like the supply and demand. And also like when you start to go into bigger types of manufacturers, you don't have the same type of lead times. So like when Alan was fulfilling from his warehouse, it was one level of like speed where it's like, we get the powder. All right, cool. It's in the bag like the next day. With these contract manufacturers, like you have to wait 2 weeks once you get the powder at that actual location.
Oh wow.
So like you have to put that in a buffer, and then that could cause you to sell out. And there's so many challenges within it, you know, like there's financial challenges when you're scaling. So if you're scaling super aggressively, and then like it, like, you know, when Silicon Valley Bank happened earlier, like all the creditors and everyone was like very much like managing their risk. So like, you know, you had to be really on top of your game too. So yeah, there's always challenges.
Yeah. And I mean, even just on like the co-packing side, like, you know, we moved to different co-packers throughout the journey, and these are the exact lessons that we learned. It's just like one co-packer is happy to do it. They're happy to get it done fast for you. And you can't take that same type of relationship, move it to a new co-packer, because they're like, okay, you're gonna have to wait 3 weeks. And you know, when ads ripping, you know, the number one thing that you don't want to happen is to run out of inventory. And so we've had to deal with a little ebb and flow along the lines of that.
I feel like that's always like the toughest part for like people who know how to run ads, who start like a physical product. It's like you forget that like, crap, I only have 10,000 of these things. Yeah. So once we're doing 15,000 orders, we got a problem. Or when like the CPA is like $22, you're just like, shit, I'm gonna keep running this. And then you're like, crap, I ran out of stuff. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again. And I'm always curious how people react to it, because I've seen people react in different ways. Like I've seen the people who just like stop and like will just be like, okay, it's out of stock. Or like I've also seen the people who do like the pre-order. I've seen people just do back order like crazy. Yeah. And like, to be honest, I really have not figured out which one's the right thing, because like I feel like every single one of them.
It depends on the amount of pain that you want to go through.
Well, there's different types of pain. No, exactly. Yeah. Keep going on that. What kind of pain are you talking about?
Well, it's like a customer support pain.
For sure.
It's you know, financial pain. Like if you shut off all your ads, like your ad's not going to come back at the same velocity. Because if you shut off your ad on Facebook, you know this, like it's just not going to, like Facebook doesn't want that.
Yeah.
So like, and even if you scale down your ad, like to scale it back up is not going to be as easy. So like we had an ad that hit recently, and like we were just like, this ad just lowered our CPA by 40% overnight, and we cannot like increase budget on it. It was just like, well, our budget's going to be flat. And like, even still, it was like,
Wait, so why couldn't you increase the budget?
we didn't have enough stock.
Yeah.
Our supply went from January to, which we thought we had 4 months of inventory, to having less than 40 days.
Jeez.
And we were just like, all right, well, we have our hands tied, and there's a 90-day lead time for that product. So like, we couldn't get it in time. So yeah, that was tough.
You can't pre-order that. You can't like give the emails
No, it's
after
too
saying,
long to
hey,
pre-order.
sorry, we're back ordered. It's
Yeah,
so
I mean,
much.
3 months back ordered is a lot.
What's up, New Money Talks fam? Have you ever wanted a personal sales force for your e-commerce brand? If so, you probably haven't heard of the new kid on the block, Feel.tech. Feel is an e-commerce selling solution for D2C brands that want to provide interactive purchase experiences to their customers and streamline the actual sales cycle of a buyer. With AI-driven product recommendations, try before you buy features, and live assistance and support, FieldTech users often see a substantial lift in their customer AOV, a decrease in their acquisition costs, and an improvement in their conversion rate. Imagine you're buying a new laptop and Apple offered a virtual live experience in which they can demo the product for you, show you all of the specs and features that you want, and answer all of your questions simultaneously. Not only would that probably increase your likelihood of buying, but it'll also actively decrease the amount of customer concerns that Apple is now going to receive. Now, you're probably thinking, with a solution that's this good, probably costs a lot of money. Wrong. FieldTech actually only charges a percentage of the new sales that they bring you that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten without them. So if you run a D2C brand that is looking for an elevated purchasing experience for their customers, so if you run a brand that could use a virtual sales force or that wants to offer virtual sales experiences to their customers, then check out the link below this video or visit feel.tech. And as always, make sure to mention that New Money Talks sent you so you can get that New Money Talks white glove onboarding experience. Now let's get back to the podcast. It's like 30 days, that's one thing.
Yeah, but that's also the importance of like, you have to make sure that your supply chain can remain nimble. And when you like kind of work with the larger scale co-manufacturers, the co-packers, it's tougher to have that nimbleness to it. And so, we have to go back to the drawing boards, figure out what to do with inventory, figure out how to shore up inventory. But I think overall, something that we're learning is just like, it all begins with a good forecast from bottom up. It all kind of dictates how you want to move in certain directions. You have assumptions you throw in there. So we got better at inventory forecasting because we went through that early on, and we're still learning through that as we go. But you got new levels and you got new devils.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know from my experience, because like when I started my first brand, I drop shipped the product first and then we bought inventory, and I fell into the same issue. Like the CPAs were just great, and then we sold out. But I went the route of just like keep selling it. So then I had like a 2-month time until like XYZ person bought it, and then XYZ person received it. Yeah. And then on top of that, they were subscribed to it too. Oh. So you fall into right. And then like one thing, you think customer service number one. That's part one. Yeah. But then you don't think about like payment processor, chargeback. And you don't think about chargeback all the way down the line, and like you don't know until you know.
Facebook score too.
Facebook score, like feedback score, all these things that you learn, and you're like, shit, I didn't think about it. So I think I was like 6,000 or 7,000 orders back ordered for like a $40 product. And like I was like, well, our CPA is like, this was like probably 2018, 2019. CPA was like, I don't know, $10. I'm just like, let's just keep going. But then you shoot yourself in the foot, because after that point, I literally have not been able to get a payment processor up like running consistently again.
You got to go high risk.
You have to go high risk, exactly. And then there's like payment holds and all this stuff that you just you learn with the game, right? Yeah. And then like the customers that bought from you then, they hate you now. Yeah. There's that stuff too. So it's like you see all sides of it, right?
Yeah, and we when that happens, we don't want that to happen. We customers depend on us.
No, of course.
We had someone reach out and they're like, I get really good sleep with Noon Brew, and it's been a few weeks. Where's my order? You just have to make it right by the customer, apologize, let them know what's exactly going on. And like, we like to be transparent whenever these things happen. We apologize, we let them know. But it's a work in progress. We're also learning how to become better at this. Number one, forecasting, and number two is just like, when that happens, how do we make sure our customers are fully aware of what's going on? And you'd be surprised. Like, I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're really chill. They're like, no, we totally get it. You guys are a young company. You're growing. It's all good. Thanks for letting me know. And like, having that line of communication is very important.
Yeah, it's like the proactiveness instead of reactiveness.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, you have to like over communicate and stuff like that. And just tell people like, hey, like we're literally. It's kind of crazy because on Facebook, everyone seems like the same level playing field as a business, But people don't realize, well, you guys who are just starting can have the same ad as like a Coca-Cola type of thing.
Yeah.
So people buy from you online, they're like, well, I just bought from this company. They're not thinking in the back of their heads, it's just like 3 guys
But
out of an apartment in Brooklyn.
they're also spoiled by Amazon,
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say it's more on Amazon though.
Yeah.
Actually, that's true. Amazon screws it up.
Yeah. That 2-day shipping. I mean, they expect that from us sometimes, and we're just like, we're not Amazon. We're available on Amazon, but I'd love to get it to you in 2 days at this shipping rate if possible.
Yeah.
Can you do that, John?
We could do a lot of things. you know my number. You can always call me. That's funny.
How old are you guys? Like business wise, not personally.
2 years ago we launched, so September 2021.
Have you enjoyed the ride so far?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good.
A lot of ebbs and flows, but I mean,
a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better than going to an MBA program. You can learn so much. You can learn so much from people, but when you're actually in the weeds, you're like, oh crap, I got to figure this out. It's a lot more fun, I'd say, but it's a lot more stressful. But what business isn't?
Well, but honestly, you get paid to do this. At an MBA, you have to pay like
we pay ourselves.
Well, you pay ourselves.
Yeah. Coming out of our pocket, but yeah.
But like at least like actually like you're more net positive doing this in the MBA.
Yeah,
I say
far more. It's and the cool thing about building the actual business is the experiential learning instead of the theoretical learning.
Right.
You can always take a course. You can go to college, get an MBA, but it's all like, well, this is what you can do. It's not, here's what I did, or it's not, well, let's just figure this out as we go. And that's where you learn the most. You might have some expensive lessons along the way, but
we've had some expensive lessons.
They all have ROIs to them.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you guys run ads in house?
We have a media buyer, but we actually just hired a marketing person, so they're going to be running our ads.
I'm curious because you guys obviously have scaled really quickly throughout the time, in a sense.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
We're putting content together.
We got good noise cancellation.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a podcast. We're going to chop up and do a Facebook ad.
Hey, have at it.
Thank you.
We're keeping this in here.
Speaking of ads, let's I'll position a nice question for an ad.
Cool.
Let's see. I'm trying to. So you guys
got the concepts.
You guys obviously have a lot of competitors.
Yep.
Right. So I guess you mentioned a couple of the benefits, but I don't want to like name drop another company that I know you guys are better than. But I've actually experimented with a lot of different ones, and I won't name drop them to give them any clout. But for the last like 2 years, I've been getting these weird on and off headaches. I've always been very healthy my whole life, like D1 athlete. Try to get good sleep. Try to get decent work schedule, so I'm not overworking. And I tried a lot of different supplementation, like you mentioned magnesium before. I mean, I've tried a ton of stuff, remedies, you name it. I've tried it to try to lessen the intensity of the headaches, and they're always first thing in the morning. So, and I'm sure that's a big problem that a lot of people come to you guys saying that it solves. Where can I lead this question to that's ad worthy? I'm trying to think. Hook. I know I know the ad formulas. We got Hook. All right. Hook can be the headache angle.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's tough to craft it on the spot. I'm gonna come up with it.
Oh my god.
Ready? So does Noon Brew, should I say Moon Brew or Noon Brew for night headaches? Which one do you think would help better?
Would be
Moon Brew?
Yeah. You're probably
Moon
dehydrated.
Brew.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water. We'll get into that in a second.
Do you take magnesium?
Yes, a little bit. And I've tried the 2 different types of magnesium as well.
Yeah.
Didn't really notice a big difference with either of them or a difference at all. But yeah. All right, I got the question. So I've recently been getting some pretty intense headaches. How can Moon Brew possibly help with those?
I think from like a relaxation point of view, I think like from a day-to-day perspective, right? Like we're just so inundated with stimulation. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people, they're like, oh man, I'm getting headaches randomly. I don't know why. And it's like, well, we live in a world where you're constantly connected 24/7. It's not like when we were kids and we were like, in college and we're able to just kind of like, we have this time for this. We have less responsibilities at the time. So I think from like a relaxation perspective, some people get headaches and they don't know how to put a name behind it. They're like, is it anxiety? Am I going through like some mental health issues? What is it? And I think like it all starts with a good night's sleep, right? If you don't wake up feeling refreshed, if you don't wake up feeling like, ooh, I feel good, then like, yeah, you're probably like, you're lacking some minerals somewhere. You're not getting the relaxation that you need. Luckily, magnesium helps with a lot of that. the 14 superfoods within Moon Brew also help with that. I mean, one of my favorite ones, and we can kind of talk about this whole fungi trend going on. I don't know if it's a trend because it's working really well for a lot of people, is Poria. Poria is like one of my favorite types of like Chinese adaptogens, aka China root. It's a sclerotium, kind of like chaga. And it's been shown in different studies to kind of help activate your GABA receptors. And, you know, if you know GABA helps you relax at night, right? So I think it's a holistic approach to what you're going through. It's what am I really going through from a day-to-day basis? How much stimulation am I getting? Am I really getting the proper reset and the proper relaxation that I need? And do I wake up feeling refreshed? Am I getting a good night's quality sleep? Because like, you know, I was talking to my dad about depression, for example, and treating depression from a TCM angle. It all starts with a good night's sleep. And a lot of people depressed may not have a good night's sleep because they can't go to sleep. And then that snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. So that's a loaded question answer to your question, but yeah.
So if you were to pair Moon Brew with the perfect nightly routine, what would it be?
So like 2 hours before bed, I like to wind down the lights a little bit, set the mood, put some Marvin Gaye on. No, I'm just kidding with the Marvin Gaye. But, set the mood and like really just relax. Put away the electronics, like shut off a lot of the blue lights and like, you know, if you want, use a book, read a book. If you want, just do nothing for a while. Drink some Moon Brew, 2 hours so you can actually like empty your bladder before you go to bed. And just like wind yourself down. Like this is something that I learned after we made Moon Brew. I'm just like, okay, well, like I'm drinking this while watching TV. How can I make this a better experience? But wind yourself down over time, empty your bladder, keep the room nice and cool, make it real dark, and you'll sleep like a baby.
And you'll wake up feeling amazing.
Yeah. Hey, I do.
And another thing is not eating like 6 hours before bed. I think that's something that's been scientifically proven.
Or just 6 hours is a lot, though.
Yeah.
You think?
Well, then you wouldn't be able to have.
Well, yeah. Think about it. If you eat dinner,
if you have dinner at 5 and go to bed at 10, 11. It might be extreme, but
just have a lighter meal, right? Yeah, like just have a lighter meal so you're not like overly stuffed. Your body's not like spending energy digesting.
Wait, is it true to have like it's better to have like a bigger like lunch and then sleep a little bit and then like a smaller dinner like in Europe?
It's very European.
They do that in Europe. That's what we do over there, and you feel amazing after that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. In New York, it's like impossible to do that. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's according to your lifestyle, right? The European lifestyle is very chill. I mean, going back to the story of, you know, we got the product done in 2 months, but we worked with a branding agency and they're based in Belgium. And they had their European summers, right? So like for 2 months, we're just like, hey man, like, are you done? And he's just like, I'm on vacation. I'll get back to you later on.
Really? Oh, so you guys didn't even expect that.
So
it delayed the launch.
Yeah, it went from March and we officially launched in September. So theoretically, we could have cut that in half if we moved faster. Yeah.
Oh wow, you don't even think about that. Yeah, in Europe they don't care. They go to like Saint Tropez, Mykonos.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
so you guys have both been traveling around the world recently. I guess, was that more than 2 years ago or still?
That was
trying?
for me at least. That was
Yeah. I mean, I've been in quite a few different countries. Luckily, previous company I was with, they had offices in 8 different countries, so I got to live in each place for a few months, sometimes like years at a time, and really see the culture. But lately, I've been on a European tip. Really enjoy Europe, but you know, it's too relaxed, I'd say.
You can run this obviously from vacation though, can't you?
Or remotely.
No, I mean, I used to think so. I used to think like Instagram, right? It shows you that like social media and like all this stuff will show you like, oh, e-commerce, I'm on a beach and I'm doing this, or, you know, that all sounds great. But if you want to go, like another saying that I like to have is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with other people, right? And so like, you know, you could work by yourself and do a lot of things, accomplish a lot of things, chill on a beach. But within like wanting to make it a bigger thing than you initially thought, you got to have a team. You got to have people like with you to do certain things. And like, you got to build relationships with them. Even like a communication over Slack. It's like a text or a message. It leaves so much to be interpreted. I'd rather just have a face-to-face conversation, especially when times are tough. It's like, just talk to me in person. Let's figure this out instead of like sending messages. You know, it's easier that way.
Yeah. I feel the same way because like as we hire more at like the 3PL, everyone always asks me like, is this like remote? Is this like a hybrid? I'm like, it's really not.
You can't fulfill remotely.
But even like
What's up, NewmoneyTalks fam? Quick one for our sponsors over at PrimeCord. If you've ever wanted to build your own e-commerce business, but you haven't gotten started yet, you're probably just overwhelmed with the amount of information that's out there with people telling you what to do. But the guys in Prime Cord, Andrew and Kevin, know what they're doing. They're multi-7-figure dropshippers that have been doing this for years. They've done millions and millions of dollars in sales profitably. And in this Discord coaching community, they teach you everything that you need to know to launch and to scale your own e-commerce business. And they break it down in a way that's very simple and easy to understand, which is best of all, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation from people that are teaching the wrong things and don't even do it themselves. These guys are the real deal. So if you want to learn more about what it is that they do, about the coaching community, have a group of people who are all growing together and holding each other accountable to hitting certain goals or to learning new things, then definitely check out Prime Cord. We're going to have the link somewhere in the description of this video. Now back to the podcast.
Customer service though, because like they're like, oh, I come from home. I'm like, yeah, you can, but like also I want you here, because like when a brand's calling you or like message you on Slack and be like, hey, what happened to this order? I don't want you to have to message somebody else to go check on it. I want you to be able to just walk inside the warehouse and go look at it yourself. Yeah. And like that way you'll also understand what's going on. Because like, for example, in your example where you guys were like kind of low on stock all the time, if you had a good, like say customer success rep who was like on their shit all the time, they would be like notifying you, be like, hey guys, maybe it's time to order more. You know what I mean? Maybe it's time to be on top of this, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
we're on top of it.
We're on top of it.
Of course,
it's really just more so like, you know, sometimes things rip so hard that you're just like, okay, well, like we're fighting this balance of like dialing it back a little bit on the ad spend side, or like just leaving it flat and then like immediately triaging. And so like whenever that happens, we're watching our stock levels. It's really just how fast can you triage. You know, we've worked with like all different types of co-packers. We moved to a larger one recently, and that's where it kind of screwed us a little bit. But all in all, it's like we see things like within a few hours and we're like, okay, let's make moves on this. Let's get inventory, whatever we need to do. Let's get it to our co-packers and then let's get moving on production.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know you have to get out of here, right?
No,
I don't know if you have more questions for them too. I know he's at dinner.
I got a dinner.
He has a nice date to get
One of my last questions is I'm curious to know how you guys are doing on TikTok, because I know that's it to most D2C brands. It's like new kid on the block.
You can help us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, would love to crack the TikTok code. I think, you know, something that we didn't intend for is when we launched it. It's like we made this product for ourselves. And going back to your question early on, John, of like, how do you know this is going to take off? Dude, if you're not using your own product on a daily basis, like we've been drinking Noon Brew daily for the last 2 years,
I
right?
love that.
That's probably not a banger. We use it daily. And, you know, I think we didn't intend on our customer base to be older. And we thought it was more like young professionals, people that needed a coffee alternative. And the creatives kind of dictate some of that, breaking off into different channels dictate that. So TikTok will be dope for us to crack into.
Yeah.
What is like the main customer base for this? Is it like moms and stuff, like older?
It's
like
across
older
the board,
women
but
type of thing?
it's a lot of older women. Maybe we just see it because, you know, they're the most vocal on customer support. So, you know, guys aren't always like as they
true.
don't.
That's true.
Not to like profile or
No, I feel like that's one of like the best.
That's
people
the best
to go after,
demo.
like demo and e-commerce, like even Avi, for example. Like we're good friends with like Raw and Ash and all them.
Middle-aged.
And they're like, middle-aged, like rich women are like,
they got the LTV.
They got the LTV. Like if they actually like it, they'll buy it again. Like they'll tell their friends. Like you could in Facebook groups, all this type of shit.
The Facebook groups is big.
Yeah.
You guys have a customer community?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of fun in there. A lot of customers like post their journey of like, oh, I'm mixing Noon Brew or Moon Brew with this and it tastes delicious. But, you know, whenever you run into some issues, it's like that's a customer
becomes customer support. But to answer your question, I mean, we don't do as much on TikTok. We want to start, but I think that like the advice that we got early on, and this was one of the ways that like really we were able to grow, is that like, you know, a lot of our friends had brands that were doing more than, you know, what we were doing, or like they were like farther along within their journey and they just like told us what to do. And like one of the pieces of advice that our friend had given us is just like one channel, one product, $1 million in sales. So like Facebook, one product, and then $1 million. And until you like get to that, like don't look at other channels. And Facebook has a lot more ability past 1 million. So we kind of just like, you know, obviously we got to 1 million and then we continued on within that, but we're looking at expanding within TikTok.
I feel like that's also like the Alex Hormozy approach. He kind of says the same thing.
Yeah.
Like one product, one platform, one offer, one channel, etc. And you can get that to a healthy place. But then you can expand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be a good short, actually. I think when they cut this all up and everything. I feel like people try when they start just like spray and pray on everything. It's like
they do
Instagram,
too much in the
Facebook,
beginning.
You
TikTok.
can't optimize.
You gotta focus.
Yeah, focus is huge.
In the beginning, how'd you guys make so much content to like test and everything? how'd you guys like think through building content?
I think that's like still like a struggle of like, as you spend more and more, like how do you continually get more content? And that's something we're still figuring out. But like, in the early days, it was you just have to make it yourself.
It was literally Andrew in front of his phone making video ads. We had one video. It was a story of how Noon Brew came to be. Like that video worked really well, but it was still very focused around Andrew. It was a focus around me, but less so much about like the customer persona that we want to go after. So that's all something we're learning right now.
2024.
Yeah.
It's gonna
and
be
I
a
think
big one.
TikTok holds you accountable to getting that content and to being consistent with your content acquisition. Because like what we'll usually do is we'll find a bunch of creators, we'll get like one-time content for them, a few projects, and then we'll test that on an account with, let's say 4 or 5 videos per creator. Whatever videos start getting a little bit more traction or like angles that we're using, we can actually create other TikTok accounts for that. So now you have an angle that's working, a creator that maybe you pair with a brand new account with that one specific customer avatar and angle. And you can even personalize a landing page to go after that angle. And that just holds you accountable to getting more organic content that can be repurposed as creatives for Facebook, for Instagram Reels, for, Instagram, like just basically everywhere. And it's the repurposement of that content that's effective. So like if you guys know the safe zone where the text of the ad and the focal point should be central, so you can turn it from vertical to square on any platform.
Yeah.
So you get really good TikTok content, and you need to for ads and organic for it to pop off and to be, a customer acquisition ecosystem. You get a lot of that content and it's repurposable content. It holds you accountable to like testing those angles and trying different creators and demographics and environments, and like that, through that volume, I think you find the quality that works in the ads.
Yeah.
Before we hop off here, I want to ask for a NewmoneyTalks promo code.
Oh, I might use it.
You got to give one to the audience, like some NMT 25 or something.
15.
Whatever.
What's your email opt-in offer?
Whatever you guys
We're gonna put
only on subscription. Yeah. We'll do like a money 20.
Money 20.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
All right, so go to
20% off.
Is it's NoonBrew.com?
NoonBrew.co.
NoonBrew.co.
Yeah.
NoonBrew, I like that. NoonBrew.co money 20
/ money 20
for the
We'll
subscription.
make that
Yeah, try it out. Get some
just remind us to
energy.
make that
Get some sleep.
discount code. Yeah.
Also, where can people find you guys too? Like
Social
personally,
media.
You're on Twitter, aren't you?
I haven't been posting within
Okay.
like the last year, but like I guess Noon Brew on, but
Yeah, like our emails. I mean, I'm on.
Wait,
we have LinkedIn.
I
we
feel
have
like you guys are
Instagram.
pretty social people too. I see.
yeah, on Instagram _Drew or Drew_Case.
Yeah,
Underscore.
and
Yeah,
I'm,
we'll have it linked in the description.
I'm
Yeah.
Allen.Shen1.
I think we're both private, but
Yeah, I barely post anymore, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But you're on there all day.
on Twitter, Andrew Case.
Education,
Okay.
got you.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool.
No,
Cool.
I think this was a short one, but like I think it was fun.
Short but sweet.
We'll do another one.
No, we'll definitely do
100%.
another
we'll run
one.
it back. But
Yeah.
hey, congrats on the 1 year, by the way. This
Yeah,
is your
52.
52nd
Yeah,
episode.
52.
Congrats on all your guys' success. You know,
Yeah.
you guys have killed. You guys came out of nowhere and just started killing it.
It's
So-
been
For
fun.
sure.
It's been
Took the
fun.
world by
Yeah,
storm.
Yeah. But
Still at the still have a lot more.
oh no,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
These things take. It's funny because like even Athletic Greens,
Yeah.
people haven't noticed, but this company's been around for like a decade type of thing.
More, yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like it takes a very, very, very long time to make these things work.
Yeah, but it's also like within these choppy times, right? Like I love to quote Chamath, like I love the All In Pod. You got to stay default alive when times are choppy, right? And so
Yeah.
like when you're seeing crazy CPM, CPAs, it's like there's no need to push at those moments. Like preserve cash. And the brands that can do that are the brands that are going to become the next unicorns once we get over this kind of wave of volatility that we're seeing.
So when Noon Brew's like a unicorn, we called it on this one.
Hey,
Hey,
watch
that's the
out.
goal.
That's the goal.
On our end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share us with your friends. Shout out to the sponsors too.
Yeah.
I don't know who the sponsor on this one. I think
It's tough to forecast. It's like inventory.
definitely Melio's a sponsor. Check him out if you.
Yeah.
We use Melio.
You guys use Melio.
Oh,
yeah, they're
there
great.
we go.
Look at
Look at that.
that.
Yeah. Melio's a sponsor. Shout out Melio.
Yeah,
Guy
yeah.
and Melio, you're the best.
Try them out for free. Link in the
I think
description.
Prime Core's probably sponsoring this too.
Yep.
So
Cool.
if you haven't already, check those guys out. And
Yeah.
See you guys on the next one.
See you in the next
Appreciate
one.
you.